Good evening. I'm Josh Hager, Vice President of the Bismarck School Board. It's 5:15 on Thursday, May 29th. I call this meeting to order. Welcome to those of you who are joining us both here and online. You can find our agenda and follow along online under the School Board tab at bismarckschools.org. Mr. Scher, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Eastgate?
Here.
Mr. Hager?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Ms. Presky?
Note that all board members are present. Mr. Eastgate is calling in, so we have him here as well. Dr. Fosnot, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Item 1C, BPS mission, vision, and values. The BPS mission is to empower every learner to thrive. The BPS vision states, together, our strong relationships build inclusive, collaborative, and innovative environments that create agency and inspire a passion for learning, excellence, and discovery. BPS values are inclusion, excellence, innovation, leadership. You'll also find a link in the agenda within the agenda to the BPS strategic plan. Item 2 is to adopt the agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Chair, we have a motion and a second.
Lee?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Presky?
Yes.
Eastgate?
Yes.
Hager?
Yes. Item 3. This is, and I know in this case, I know I can speak for the board. This happens to be one of our favorite nights to see all these faces in the audience tonight. So with that, our focus on success, presentation of BPS Foundation scholarships. Dr. Fosnot.
Thank you, board members. Nice to be with you this afternoon, this evening. Yes, I'd like to welcome to the podium a couple of our really behind the scenes. They're working all the time for the betterment of our students, and I couldn't be more proud of the work that both Talia Nygaard, our foundation director, and Mr. Rick Jeloff, who is the president of the BPS Foundation at this time, do to help support our kids getting on to that next step. And you're invaluable to them. I'm sure all the people in this room realize that tonight, but I think all the kids in the future, the work that our foundation does to support our kids, not only as graduates, but throughout their career and their time in Bismarck Public Schools is tremendous. I'd also like to say, before I give you the mic, Mr. Jeloff, I want to say a special thank you to Starian Bank, Starian Financial, which will be hosting a social time, kind of a welcome time, a congratulatory time for our scholarship winners this evening across the street. Really appreciate their partnership on many things, and this is a special night. So, Mr. Jeloff.
Thank you, Dr. Fosnot. That was very good. I'm not used to speaking on this side of the microphone. It's nice. I thought I was coming up here to speak on OE10. Do you guys not want me to do that? No. All right. Vice President Hager, members of the board, members of the administration, thank you for allowing Talia and I up here to present and celebrate. I echo the comments of Mr. Hager. This is one of the best nights of the school board. We're recognizing the BPS scholarship awardees. These scholarships are made possible by our generous donors who have given in honor or memory of loved ones, or simply to give back to the schools that provided them and their children with a solid foundation for their future. It's a huge honor to do this and award 32 different awardees tonight. We continue to try to increase that every year, and our process is next year it'll be even bigger and better. First, we want to recognize this new scholarship that we have. Today, we'd like to honor Britton Miss B. Meyer, a beloved Century High School senior whose strength, joy, and love for school left a lasting impact on everyone who knew her. Thanks to the generosity of the Meyer family, the Miss B Memorial Scholarship was created to celebrate her legacy. Each year, it awards $1,000 to a CEHS senior who embodies Britain's spirit of perseverance, inclusion, and kindness. To the Meyer family, thank you for turning Britain's memory into a powerful gift for future students. Her light continues to shine through the scholarship. We're going to move on to the scholarship awardees. As we call your name, please come up to the podium and receive your certificate. And then if you would, please go around and shake the hands of the school board members. Congratulations to all the 2025 winners. Our first awardee is Maisie Addison, has been awarded the Rose Stoller Scholarship. She plans to attend UND and major in psychology, forensic science, and criminal justice. Braylon Axt has been awarded the Jade Tosseth Scholarship and the David Blackstead Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Mary to major in biology with a pre-optometry concentration. Emily Bernston has been awarded the Lincoln Community Club Scholarship. A special mention to the Lincoln Elementary PTO for awarding an extra $500 to each one of the Lincoln Community Club scholarships. Liliana Bird has been awarded multiple scholarships. The Ide Family Scholarship, the Sonora B. Kine Scholarship, Neil Souther Scholarship, Hendrickson Scholarship, and the Horizon Scholarship. She plans to attend UND and major in business with a minor in Spanish. Congratulations. Bain Blanchard was awarded the Century High School Scholarship and Horizon Middle School Scholarship. Bain was unable to attend here tonight as he is in Italy with the CHS choir. Ziva Burkardsmeyer has been awarded the Bismarck High School Scholarship. She plans to attend Concordia College with an intended major in education and a minor in theater. Emma Davis has been awarded the Century High School Scholarship and the Avid CCU Scholarship. She plans to attend NDSU. Kennedy DeWall has been awarded the Milo and Jan Candy Scholarship. She plans to attend UND and major in elementary education with a minor in psychology. You can't start recruiting already. Lilia Erdman has been awarded the Wold Family Scholarship. She plans to attend UND and major in occupational therapy. Gabrielle Erith has been awarded the Century High School Scholarship. She plans to attend UND for kinesiology. Cadence Glaser has been awarded the Lincoln Community Club Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Mary and major in communication sciences and disorders. Kaylee Glott has been awarded the Bismarck High Scholarship. She plans to attend Concordia College. Benjamin Guthmiller has been awarded the Legacy High School Scholarship. He plans to attend UND. Aviana Harris has been awarded the Roy Gilbreth Scholarship, and she plans to attend UND. Emerson House has been awarded multiple scholarships: the Dixon Whiteman Scholarship, Diana Schlosser Scholarship, and the Wolf Family Scholarship. She plans to attend NDSU for biology. Silas Jackson has been awarded the Dixon Whiteman Scholarship. He plans to attend BSc for pre-physical therapy. Madison Jordan has been awarded the Legacy High School Scholarship. She plans to attend GCU for elementary education. Michaela Jorgensen has been awarded the Paul Krantz Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Jamestown for nursing. Nora Kemp was awarded the Kepler Family Music Scholarship and the Walls Family Scholarship. She plans to attend NDSU for elementary education and human development and family sciences. Elizabeth Kurzman has been awarded the Bismarck High School Scholarship. She plans to attend Montana State University. Sydney Kiefer has been awarded the Ide Family Scholarship and the Roy Gilbreth Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Mary for physical therapy. Bryce Lasher was awarded the Pierre Louis Entrepreneurial Scholarship. He plans to attend BSc for finance. Emma Mathis has been awarded the Tom Hesford Scholarship and the Jody Olheiser Memorial Scholarship. She plans to attend NDSU for criminal justice with a minor in pre-law. Joseph McCormick was awarded the Gloria Sand Scholarship. He plans to attend NDSU for physical education and special education. Megan Mertz has been awarded the Wold Family Scholarship. She plans to attend Rice University for aerospace engineering. Taylor Peterson has been awarded the Ide Family Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Mary for special education and early childhood education. Avery Prokop was awarded the Bismarck High School Scholarship and the Ide Family Scholarship. She plans to attend NDSU for criminal justice with a minor in psychology. Danielle Schill was awarded the Danny Thompson Scholarship. She plans to attend UND for aviation management. Jace Schwab has been awarded the Lincoln Community Club Scholarship. He plans to attend BSc for general education. Ryan Wagner has been awarded the Jan Gilbertson Scholarship. He plans to attend NDSU to major in nursing and minor in Spanish. Tice Weinveen has been awarded multiple scholarships: the Artis Munson Scholarship, Avid CCU Scholarship, and the Renee Hoffman Walker Scholarship. He plans to attend St. Cloud University for mass communications and finance. Lauren Zent has been awarded the following scholarships: Brandon Thompson Memorial Scholarship, Don Prouty Scholarship, Jan Gilbertson Scholarship, the Miss B Memorial Scholarship. She plans to attend Concordia College and major in elementary education. Let's give it up for our scholarship awardees. Vice President Hager, members of the board, I would like to thank you again for the opportunity to present our 2025 BPS Foundation Scholarship awardees. The future looks bright to our BPS graduating students. The BPS Foundation is so grateful for the support of our donors that allows us to continue our mission to empower every learner through enhanced recognition and services. I would like to echo the comments of Dr. Fosnot. I ask that our donors, awardees, and scholarship supporters transition over to the reception at the Starion Bank. Thank you all. Yeah. If we had any scholarship awardees that came in later that didn't get their name announced and you would like to, please let me know and I can call your name again.
It's Mr. Kranz.
Mr. Kranz. Michaela Jorgensen has been awarded the Paul Kranz Scholarship. She plans to attend the University of Jamestown for nursing.
She's not here tonight.
No. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jolloff. Ms. Nygaard, board members. Ms. Presky.
Yes, thanks. I think it's just really good to just acknowledge again, like the contributions that are made by the folks that are funding these scholarships to give our kids kind of a leg up and help them out as they take on the next chapter of their lives. So thank you to who is in the audience tonight that has probably made these scholarships a possibility, a reality, and help these students get their start. So thank you to you, and good job to our students. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Presky.
Mr. Hager?
Yeah, Mr. Eastgate.
Sorry, I don't have a button to tune in here, Mr. Hager. Just a big congratulations to all the scholarship winners. It was a very hard meeting. I'm out of town with a family trip, but it was important for me to call in. So many names there, neighbors, many names I know of students, and I'm just so proud of all of them. They know who they are, and to all the students, to all the awardees, and thank you to the foundation for being here to present tonight. It is truly such a big thing for the board, and we celebrate you guys so much. And this is a special night for all of you, and just know that it means a lot to BPS to have you guys as part of our BPS family. So congratulations.
Thanks, Mr. Eastgate. Yeah, just to kind of echo what has been said here. It's a fun night. Again, thank you to all the folks, and I know there's some in the room that have donated to these scholarships, and you can see the kind of the importance it is for the community, and then further to the foundation. Mr. Jolloff, I know, working behind the scenes, and Talia getting her feet wet, new to that position, but Mr. Jolloff and the things that he does behind the scenes to help lead and drive that foundation is exceptional. He's a huge member of this community and the things that he does. So he's very much appreciated for the hard work that he puts in that he doesn't get a lot of recognition for. So thank you, Mr. Jolloff. With that, I'll give folks a minute to if they want to make their way out to go over to Starry, and you're more than welcome to stay too if you want.
Maybe state that after the Alexis, there are many state tournaments, the kids couldn't be here, and then that trip to Italy, you already said.
then there was one, right? All your friends left. Right?
For folks at home that may have been watching, there's, a number of events going on. We've got various state tournaments. As you heard, you've got folks out for choir and kind of end of year things. So that's why the number of kids that could participate was a little lighter than normal. So with that, item 4 is public comment. This board recognizes the essential role parents play in the education of their children and supports active parent involvement in the education process. The board's practice of public comment reflects and aligns with policy BCBA and the spirit of its intent. For classroom issues, it's best to follow the chain of command: teacher, principal, assistant, superintendent. For district issues, please reach out to Dr. Fosnot. If you do wish to speak tonight, we simply ask that you be responsible, be helpful, and be respectful. Our BPS students deserve to have adults model the expectations that we have for them. Groups are urged to select no more than one spokesperson. Individuals be limited to no more than 4 minutes and will be notified with 30 seconds remaining to conclude their remarks. The board will not debate issues as presented, but will take such matters under advisement. With that, please stand and approach the podium if you wish to speak tonight. Okay, seeing nobody. With that, public comment is now closed. Moving along, item number 5, monitoring district operations, OE10, learning environment. Dr. Fosnett.
Tonight I would invite to the podium to present our report Ms. Danica Nelson. She's Director of Student Support Services for us. And you may know some connections. I know we've done a workshop on some of these components, and I've asked her to kind of address some of those, make sure we pinpoint those for you as we go through. But I know it's been a discussion point, a lot of these data points throughout the year for the board. So I think you'll enjoy the report. So Ms. Nelson, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me tonight. Good evening, Vice President Hager and board members. Tonight we are here to talk about the operational excellence of OE10, learning environment, and we would recommend an in compliance recommendation for our outcomes. So the outcome of in compliance really reflects our BPS ongoing commitment to ensuring that we have a safe, respectful, and academically rigorous learning environment while empowering all of our learners to thrive. So a couple of things that I just want to highlight, and then we'll get back into more of the meat of the report. But when we start to talk about systems, and I know when we worked on the board workshop content, we spent a couple hours really diving into what are our behavioral systems for students. One of the pieces of feedback we use is from our student survey. And here are 4 comments that we saw growth in, and I would say pretty significant systems growth throughout the year. People at my school care for me, that rose. My school is safe and orderly. That was an increase of about 3%. I feel welcomed and supported. We had an increase of about 3% there. And I feel valued. And that one was also like right around 2.5. So when we look at when we talk about systems impact and systems being built, we hope and we want our students to be the ones that feel that. And those 4 pieces of data, I think, really talk about how our systems are growing. We do still have pockets of improvement, and we'll dive into that. But when students start to reflect that their learning environment is feeling safer, it is full of respect, and it feels orderly, we know that there are pieces of our system working. So as we dial down into the report, thinking about other areas that we really saw growth in, looking at our elementary schools, when we talk about our positive behavior support systems, we had all of our elementary schools that were reaching 80% or higher. And so that was a huge celebration. And then our secondary schools, we had 6% middle school growth. So we went from 81 to 87%. and our high schools grew by 1%, 83 to 84. So those were some significant data growths for us. So as you'll see, where we continue to need to refine our systems is looking at our tiered systems of support. So in the board workshop, we talked a lot about colors, our tier 2 areas of support, and really working with Midwest PBIS and leaning on their technical assistance to help support us through that process. But that would be a continual growth that we're already starting to tackle or talk to you guys about, even though we're working with a year ago data sample. We'll still continue our mental health expansion for students, and so ensuring that we have buildings with our collaborations, and do we have the right collaborations that buildings are experiencing and support. And then continue to look at our SEL, our social emotional learning continuum. We talked about second steps at our elementary and middle school, resilience at the high school, and then why try to help support that. So do we have the right social emotional learning going on, or are there areas to help improve that information also? So we also, when we reported out on OE 10 last year, we had 77% of our seclusion restraint survey or seclusion restraint data, and that was a question that you guys had, like why, if our indicator sat at 100%, why are we at 70% of our staff? And so we did address that pretty significantly this year, and we're at 99% completion. One of the pieces that we have put into place is that new hires, especially in the support staff, that they'll engage in our module training before they start working with students. What was happening is they were starting day one with students, and maybe the modules weren't getting completed, and then we didn't have, if they left or went to a different position, we never had that completion rate. So as you guys look through OE10, any questions that you may have, I definitely can try to answer.
Board members, questions, comments? Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. As we look through some of these, you can kind of see that engagement has historically been lower in middle school. You know, that I see 51.3, 49.9, 51.7. I am interested in what I learn in my classes. Can you speak to anything we've done over the past few years to try to increase engagement or increase interest with our middle schoolers?
Yeah, I really think it goes back to some more of those diverse learning experiences. So how are we personalizing their learning within the classrooms? How are we giving them choice? I feel like through our survey data that's an age level especially that wants choice and some ability to control the direction of the classes. So thinking about if you are a student that needs to have some intervention courses, how do you still get your electives while you're engaging in the intervention courses? It might not be one or the other. How do we make both happen? That's definitely been an improvement. We've also partnered with some of our collaborations. So we'll have Sanford and West Central that have been implementing what we call our Sparks, and so Sparks groups. And so that's working with students that are dealing with ongoing trauma, and how do you persevere or move through that trauma. And we're seeing a high increase in engagement with students that have been part of the Sparks groups. It's a 16-week intervention. We also have Check and Connect that we've rolled out at a secondary system-wide. So that's where we empower our teachers, support staff, professional staff. Buildings have the autonomy to decide who's going to be a mentor to students, and then they work on mentoring. They meet once a week with that student. They go through, how's your attendance? How's your missing assignments? What can we do to help support and build those relationships? And so there's also a time then after that conversation with the student, there's follow-up with family. And so it's a half family engagement, half student engagement intervention style. So I would say those were our biggest initiatives when we think about that middle school engagement over the last couple years.
Okay. And then just one other. So as I'm looking through the data, and I didn't see it anywhere, but this is obviously when we look at positive relationships, feel valued, engaging goals. That's obviously from a student survey, correct? Is it mandatory? Do we get 100% compliance on students who?
Yes, our goal would be 100%. We usually, I don't know for sure is the participation. We're probably right around 97 to 99%, but
Very high though.
yeah, we ensure there's a lot of reminders that go out to ensure that we get that level of data completion.
Okay.
So,
Because the other one, and this is on the good side, was under safe and orderly. My school is safe and orderly. You know, it went from 70% a couple of years ago to 77. That's a pretty strong upward movement.
yeah.
Is there something we did in the last couple of years to make things more safe and orderly?
Yeah, I would say that with HRS level 1, so high reliability schools, all of our buildings, I believe, are currently HRS level 1 certified. And so that was really, we didn't say to buildings you had to have your certification completed by a certain point. It was as you built the systems, refined them, and then Marzano developed a process that they would go through getting HRS level 1 completed, certified. So if you see that certification out in buildings, that really hits your safe and orderly schools.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Peterson.
I have just one question. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
for Danica or for Dr. Fosnett, but I know just at I think it was the last board meeting or maybe the one before, Dr. Fosnett, you were highlighting Panorama and the data system, and you guys are just getting started with it. But do you see that informing some of this work? And then maybe you can just speak to that a little bit, and whether or not, I don't know if it'll change the report per se, but how it might add to the information that both teachers and you as system leaders might have now.
Ms. Peterson, I appreciate the question. Actually, I can let Danica, I know she's a real champion of our Panorama product, but actually it was one of my notes. This is one of the things I took away from the report. Even though last year we talked about data and it was improving last year, we hadn't even implemented Panorama. We were still choosing something. We were discovering we still had an issue. I think as we move forward, I really feel like we're going to have a much more robust data portal, data hub to keep not only behavioral and the survey data that you referred to, but then let's cross-match that to schools. Let's cross-match that to demographics or age groups or boys in middle school, girls in middle school. We'll be able to do some of that data connections that we're really lacking now to help be more insightful to where's the gap, where are we successful, but where do we need to do some additional work? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, our team today was really diving into Panorama, and it was the behavioral data just individually is amazing, where you can pull like how many occurrences of major and minor incidents they've had, what were our interventions, and so let's say a administrator is considering a citation, they could go right to the screen and it would have all the information that they would need to make the determination, have we done our job in reteaching, and now do we need to involve other community members to help support that student, or do we need to go back to our continuum of supports and start to put additional interventions and supports in place for students. It also, we ran students that might not pop up in any of our indicators right now, but for some reason, when we looked into them, Panorama saw something. And that was one of the areas that we've traditionally had a tough time of identifying when we talk about in the board workshop, our internalizers, maybe our students who are experiencing depression, anxiety, and data doesn't always show their attendance might be okay, their classes might be okay, but this is able to get down to Yeah, there were a couple missed classes or scores fell a couple percent. Now we're going to be way more proactive than we have been in the past. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting, and just appreciate your guys' willingness to continue to dig in. And I think it'll be a really great tool for not only at your level, but also for those administrators and teachers as well as they start to learn more about what it's all about. So just appreciate this report and the workshop in the spring, because that obviously we went a lot deeper and
Yeah.
were able to ask a lot of questions at that time.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson.
Yes, thank you. Yep.
Board members, I would entertain a motion.
I will move that with respect to OE 10 learning environment, that we find the report in compliance.
I'll second.
Mr. Chair, we have a motion and a second.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Preskey,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. With that, takes us to item B, BSR 4, authorization authority of the superintendent. So this will be the public reading of BSR 4. The board will provide direction to the superintendent through written policies that define the organizational results to be achieved for students and define the operational conditions and actions to be accomplished or avoided. 1. The board will develop results policies instructing the superintendent to achieve defined results for students served by the district. 2. The board will develop operational expectations policies which express the board's values about operational conditions and actions. Certain of these values will be expressed positively to assure that the stated actions occur and the identified conditions exist and will be stated as directives. Certain values represent actions and conditions that are to be avoided and will be stated prohibitively. 3. As long as the superintendent uses reasonable interpretation of the board's results and operational expectations policy, the superintendent is authorized to establish additional district policies or regulations, make any decisions, establish any practices, and develop any activities the superintendent deems appropriate to achieve the board's result policies. The superintendent is not expected to seek board approval or authority for any such decisions falling within the superintendent's area of delegated authority. 4. The board may change its results and operational expectations policies, and in doing so, shift the boundaries between board and superintendent areas of responsibility. The board will respect and support any reasonable interpretation of its policies by the superintendent, even though the superintendent's decisions may not be the decisions the board or its members may have made. With that, that concludes the reading of BSR 4, authority of the superintendent. Ms. Peterson.
Thanks, Vice President Hager. I just wanted to make a comment because I think that this really outlines coherent governance, and I also appreciate that even though, and especially like item number 3, it talks about a lot of different decisions and authority that decision-making ability and authority that the superintendent has. But I also will thank Dr. Fosnat for communicating a lot of those decisions, because oftentimes we do get we're in the loop, or we're getting asked questions by the public. And so it is always appreciated when decisions are made that those continue to be communicated in kind of various ways. And so I think that that's something that I've appreciated. And then also the opportunity then that he has flexibility to make decisions and operate as he sees fit. So that's just a comment. So with that, I would recommend that we retain BSR 4, authority of the superintendent.
We have a motion. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Vice President Hager. Just another comment. I really do see this as one of the backbones of coherent governance and the clear delineation of roles between superintendent and board. So it's an incredibly important piece of our policy, so I would second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Chair, would you call the roll?
Peterson,
Yes.
Preskey,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. With that, how do we find ourselves in relation to this policy? Mr. Lee?
Mr. Vice President, I would find us in compliance.
I'll second.
Mr. Chair, we have a motion and a second.
Preskey,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. Item 6, matters reserved for board action. School visits, and I know we have one. Miss Preskey.
Yeah, thanks. So on the last day of school, I went to Elk Ridge, and I got there in time for all their celebration that they had going on. It was so much fun, and got to see, I don't know, everyone was happy, right? So it was a great day to be there. Started out the celebration with a flag lowering ceremony that was put on by the National Guard. And in the process of this, they actually provided a civic lesson about the flag, and I thought it was really interesting and very meaningful, especially on the heels of Memorial Day. Afterwards, I had a discussion with one of the National Guard members that was there. And by the way, the National Guard members that are participating in this event, they all had students at Elk Ridge. And then they also called out other National Guard members that serve in Bismarck that had students at Elk Ridge, and singled out, I guess, their student that was attending there. And I just think that education and, I guess, introduction into that kind of service in our country is so important. And so afterwards, while we were waiting for the students to go back into the school, I was visiting with one of the National Guard members about would we expand something like this into other elementary schools, a program like this. And really, it would just take coordination with the National Guard and identifying who's got students where, and really just trying to coordinate an event like that. But I just think it's I can't say enough positive things about it. I just think it was really stellar of them to do that. And then after that, waited around for a little bit for the things to calm down, and then the fifth graders did a walk through the school, and so I lined up in one hallway with some of the other teachers, and they blew confetti in the hallway as the fifth graders walked through, so really fun event. And I felt sorry for the janitor that day, but I guess it's his last day there for the year. So, go out with a bang. I also I didn't jot her name down, but the music teacher, she had a great playlist outside the school and all the great songs to just get kids ready for summer. So it was just such a fun atmosphere. During that day. So after all the fun events, then I was able to sit down and visit about things that are going on in the school, what's going right, what some of the concerns are. And I would say one of the things that stands out about what's going extremely well is just the great number of students that are meeting that year level of growth standard in the school, and just how they're really exceeding the average, and they have a lot of learners that they're accelerating. So just seems like the curriculum and academics in that school are just really strong. We also talked about behavioral issues, and they're even supportive of us looking at expanding the Renew Ed program into the elementary level, as they also see anxiety with kids, and they're working on developing more professional development to really dive into identifying anxiety with students and figuring out other opportunities to support them. As we were touring around the school, beautiful, beautiful school, one of our newest in town. the third graders were getting together to discuss how they could use dollars that they raised through a project called Flower Power, where they sold Mother's Day flowers. And they raised $3,000, and they wanted to use these funds to build a student celebration space. So when there's something worth celebrating with a student, or they've gone over and above, they get to be able to use this space. And there's matching dollars that have been made available by a business. And so the third graders, when I was standing right there, voted to approve the purchase of a Pac-Man machine. So, yep, that's a good reward. It also took me back to about third grade. Yeah, so just really good visit, fun visit, and a good way to finish out the school year.
Thank you, Ms. Presky, for that school visit. That was a good one. Doesn't look like anybody else has anything, so
I'll have a couple more later on.
save them for later. We'll need something for over the summer. So with that, that brings us to the consent agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
I would move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Chair.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Preskey,
Yes.
Eastgate. Lose him. Hager.
Yes. Item 8, superintendent's report. Start with A, federal budget update.
Yeah, if I can, it was asked, and I'll put it in my Friday communication with you guys, and maybe even share it out on socials. People know, and I had a note to ask Ms. Nygaard too, how much money the foundation gave out this year in grants. I think it'd be nice to put that out to the people, because it really is a lot. I want to go back and the foundation board does a really good job of allocating those dollars, and it is a substantial amount of dollars they do. So I'll share that with you and the community through social media so they know. I guess I wanted to share tonight, you're well aware, as Ms. Peterson said, kind of keeping you in the loop even on operational things. This is one that we have talked about, but I think for the sake of you as the board and the community, it'd be good to talk about federal funding and some of the challenges we're running into. I just want to focus on Title I, Title II, III, and IV, and kind of share with you some information. Title I supports our disadvantaged students. You'd see intervention programs in our not all of our elementary schools, but many of our elementary schools with high poverty rates in reading and math. And so this year we're going to receive or last year received a little bit over $4 million, $4.4 million. This a couple weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, we were informed that allocation from the federal government will be reduced by $734,000. That's a really late announcement for us to adapt to see over 16% reduction in Title I allocation for Bismarck Public School. That puts us at $3.6 million. And I'm going to talk about some of the implications of that later, but I just want maybe the people out there to know that we're just getting informed of some of these. And in regard to Title II, which is for effective instruction and professional development, Title III, which is for EL and English language learners and immigrant support, and Title IV, which is student kind of well-rounded. We use that for technology, well-rounded, student well-being, social emotional learning, and those things. Those allocations right now, I shared them with you on the report. We don't know yet. We're still waiting for confirmation of where those allocations will be. What I provided in the report for you today is just what if there was more cuts there? What if they were similar to what we saw in Title I? For Title II, that'd be a reduction of around $150,000. In Title III, $10,000. That's a much smaller award. And in Title IV, that'd be $94,000. So you're adding that up, and it's getting to be $200,000+, actually more than that, almost $300,000 really quickly. In addition to what we know is already the $734,000 that we know is going to be a reduction in Title I. So what I also provided you is so how many people are in there? We do a lot of things in there, but how many people are paid for? Because this time of the year, contracts just went out to our professional or certified teaching staff on Tuesday. We're waiting the 14 days to receive those. So when we talk about reductions in funding in the title program, it does boil down to people. 85, 86% of our costs as a district really go to people, because we're in the people business. So when you talk about Title I, overall, that's 43.9 FTEs. It's probably more people than that because we put them in slices. There's parts of people in there, but total, it's almost 44 FTEs. Title II is 3, much smaller. Okay, we do a lot of PD out of there. We do a lot of professional development and training and improving the people we have. Title III, which is EL, doesn't have any people in there, just providing services to our team and our children and families. So that's actually probably a little easier. In Title IV, we have 1.45 FTEs paid out of that. But you talk about things like in career and tech ed, work-based learning. We talked about that connection between CTE programs and our kids and getting them on job sites. Well, almost half of that position that we really find valuable is paid out of that funding bucket. So if those reductions happen, it'll be a challenge. Now, I will say for the viewing public, I support reducing federal spending. I think an overall federal spending is a challenge. I personally think we spend way too much money that we don't have at the federal level. So I appreciate the cost constrictions and being good stewards of taxpayer dollars at the federal level. However, I would say timing's the challenge. Years ago, when I first started being a superintendent, we'd be notified in winter, January, February, like, here's your projected allocations for these same federal buckets. Well, then you could make some employment choices. You could make some hiring choices to get yourself in line with where the funding was going to be. That's shifted to more March and April as of recently. Congress not getting their work done or not getting their work done. So we've had to make some adjustments there. This year, it's the second to third week in May. That poses challenges, as I shared with you, some of the constrictions within North Dakota Century Code. I can't reduce a teacher, reduction in force or RIF. I can't RIF teachers that are guaranteed to have a renewing contract. I have to notify them in April that we're going to do that as a district. So now we're well beyond that deadline date. So now really as a district, we're beholden to maintain their contract. We have made them a promise previously. We now have to uphold that promise. And that's a challenge we as a district are going to have in the future because we're past those reduction timelines. I also think if you're going to reduce in the future, let's say it's next year, and this our financial problems maybe or challenges are still present, we have to do that earlier. We have to make choices of who should stay funded out of our federal programs, but at the same time, you have to meet the obligations that are set forth in the federal programs. They don't just give you money and say do whatever you want. There's certain requirements in each of those programs you have to meet. So it'll be a balance of how do we meet the requirements to get the funds while trying to live within the budget, and serving kids. So those are some statutory constrictions we have. But I think the biggest challenge right now, and hopefully I've shared that with you, is just the timing. The timing is desperately poor. It is very poor timing to see those reductions for all schools in North Dakota, because we're all getting it, not just Bismarck, to make those changes. So what do I think is a path forward? I think we're going to monitor allocations. We're going to see what happens for the rest of those, Title II, III, IV, special ed, anything else, IDEA funding, as they come in, as we continue down the process. We have already started to communicate with staff. I know when we were at the negotiations table, we talked openly and honestly with our BEA representatives about the challenges, but we'll continue to do that. Also sending some messages out, having preliminary messages out to our staff just to say, we're not taking your position away. We're not breaking the promise about your continuing contract. We're going to work forward. from this. So please know as you're signing contracts now, because that's what teachers are doing. They're deciding if they want to work for us this next year. How do we keep that promise and how do we communicate that? And then really it's about scenario planning. Title I's a little bit past. We're probably over our skis on that one. We're past the timeline. But for Title II, III, and IV, which we have a little bit more flexibility with, our teams are already working on, if we'd see a reduction, what's the first things we're going to back away from? Okay, don't purchase things. Stop some of the things we're doing to make sure that if we see a reduction, we can get our budget and our reality in line, you might say. So we're already prioritizing some of that planned spending to make sure we can get it in line quickly if the number comes in here shortly. And then lastly, board engagement. I just appreciate you listening and talking about it. It's something we're going to have to get into the budget cycle with, I'll be honest. If we're going to keep those contracts, which are mostly people in title, that is unfortunately, I'm going to break it to everybody here, that's a $700 and some thousand commitment that we're taking on as local taxpayers, as inside the general fund of Bismarck Public Schools, to maintain those for another year. So that'll put a crimp on the budget, and probably your expectation, you just talked about the operational expectations you put me under. It'll be a little tougher, I'll be honest, to meet some of those expectations you have for me, but we'll continue to do our very best. But I think as long as we talk about it openly, hopefully you understand the challenges we're under and why we're in those challenging times.
Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So when I look at the allocation from 24-25, it's 4.4 million in Title I, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
And we have 43.97 FTEs in Title I. Am I reading that correctly? So that's predominantly all of those funds go towards human capital or towards the teachers, the counselors, the social workers. So as far as where we're at in the hiring process, is there any opportunity, if there's open elementary positions, to move some of them out of like a Title I position into a classroom? Or
Mr. Lee, yes, there is. And we have some open yet. We are searching for those. Ultimately, we can make that decision too. The challenge is the challenge that our principals have to address is, okay, how are you doing the intervention services for those kids to meet the expectation of the federal allocation with reduced staff? And in some schools, we have multiple teachers serving Title I, or highest poverty schools. Others might only have a couple. So how do we navigate not only the shift from the federally funded position to maybe a classroom position, but how do we still serve the child? That's coming this next year. And to be honest, we're going to have that same question next year too, sir. It'll be, if we see that reduction, we're going to have to serve them differently because we don't have the funds to do it in the same way we are now. But you are accurate. We do have positions that we've talked about, like if we don't see that, if we don't fill that, or we're not seeing the revenue, then how can we make a shift at this time? Yes.
especially with these federal programs that are funded, it kind of feels like that's the message.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it's not the message we want to hear, but we have to deal with it, right? So, okay, thank you.
If I may extend that too, then we've talked about this too, and probably for the viewing audience, and we have a 2.5 over 2 years from the legislature we're dealing with, and we have probably taxing caps that the legislature's imposed, which I totally think we need to throttle property tax, but all those are coming in one tsunami at the time. It's all coming at the same time. We're not staggering it. We're dealing with all those challenges simultaneously.
So I think that's well put, because really it's not just a message federally, it's also locally, statewide, and it's unfortunate because I think the strength of North Dakota, and we've seen a number of numbers come out recently, is our students are excelling. They're doing very well, and it's because of the long-standing support we've had, and that's starting to dwindle. So I think people need to know that, and it may not look the same in the coming years. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Dr. Fawcett. I appreciate you bringing this tonight and giving us a little bit more color about the specifics behind it, and I couldn't agree more from a timing perspective when you look at these numbers, and we're at the end of May here, and we've already made all these decisions, and you think about our budgeting process as it is, and, you know, these kinds of decisions are made 6 months in advance as we're working through our budgeting process to get to this point to where you kind of feel stuck, and now you're having to navigate this shortcoming.
Right. And if I can add, it kind of goes back to Mr. Lee's comment too, is if we have 100 teachers, I'm making up a number, that we're obligated to have next year, and 10% of those are paid with federal funds, we don't have the money we have a reduction, we can't cover them, but I'm obligated to hire them. So yes, I could move some to general fund, and there's some savings in there, right? But I'm gonna have to pay for them some way, somehow, either way. So if I move them in the general fund, I have to pay for them. If I kept them in title, I have to pay for them because the money's gone. So we have to at least 1 year. The thing would be, as I think to Mr. Lee, your point is, you know, if we constrict a few teachers, if we drop some FTEs, there's a way to reduce the pain. But either way, we're obligated to those right now, so.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Fosnett. Either way, there's budget discussions coming in our future here. With that, down to the financial report.
Vice President Hager, members of the board, now for some good news. So just real quick on the report, I found it interesting. We got actually an interest check from our residents' credit because it ended up coming so late and we were able to collect interest on that. So that was a good thing. It was very little amount, but it was something. A couple things is on the page 2 and 3. What I really like about those is look at the big boxes, and we are under revenues a little bit, but we're much under on expenses. So you do the math there. That's a good sign. So we are projected we should end better than we said that we would. And like I always say, we do have some line items that we've shut down spending, but we always look at the bottom line. So if you're running a department, if you go over on one, the expectation from Dr. Fosnett and the business office is that you need to be under overall, and we'll still end up okay. So nothing really that I would want to point out in a particular line item that I already haven't in previous meetings, but I feel really positive that will end well. So I'd answer any questions that the board would have.
Board members, any questions? Okay. Seeing none, all agenda items have been considered. I declare this meeting adjourned.
6:28.